Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom.
As Jacob's final days approach, he calls each of his sons in for the final blessing that he's going to give them. But when it's Joseph's turn, he skips a generation. Instead of blessing his son Joseph, he offers the blessing to Joseph's two sons, his grandsons, Ephraim and Manasseh. And he blesses them with these words. The angel who has redeemed me from all harm, bless the lads. In them may my name be recalled, and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they be teeming multitudes upon the earth. But when I hear these verses, I don't actually think of this week's Torah portion. Instead, I think of the ritual of reciting the Shema at bedtime. I didn't grow up saying Shema at bedtime, but when Rebecca and I had Odelia, our daughter, we felt like this was an important ritual to include. And so from a very young age, long before she was talking, we would recite the first paragraph of Shema, and then, as is customary, we would also sing this verse to her. And now that time has gone by, she's learned the words for herself, and we all sing together, except on those occasions when she tells us, just me singing. The ritual of reciting the Shema at bedtime originates in the Talmud, where the Talmud tells us a person who's going to lay down to sleep should first say the Shema, the first paragraph of Shema, and then a short prayer asking God for calm sleep and peaceful dreams. A later passage in the Talmud tells us of a certain rabbi's custom of reciting Psalm 91 when he was going to bed. And from there started a process of slowly adding on short prayers, songs, verses from the Psalms and other places in the Bible, including this verse from our parshah this week. Of course, we know that this ritual started out of a place of a fear of the dark, and in particular a fear of sleep, which in so many ways resembles death, so much so that the Talmud tells us sleep is 1/60th of death. But I think even for us who now understand the biological rhythms of sleep, the way that it works, the way that it helps our body restore and generate new energy for the coming day, I think we can still learn a lot from this ritual of the bedtime Shema, from its structure, and hopefully to incorporate it into our own lives. It begins with a very interesting short declaration of forgiveness, where the person going to sleep declares their willingness to forgive anyone who harmed them, injured them, insulted them during the day, intentionally, unintentionally, a complete relinquishing of any negative feelings that might be left over. We then have, as I mentioned before, a short prayer asking for a calm sleep, for peaceful sleep, for restful dreams, the first paragraph of Shema, Psalm 91, and then a series of these shorter blessings and other biblical verses. But I think for us, living in a time when, with cell phones and the internet and 24-hour news and all of these stimuli that make it so hard for us to take a step back, so hard for us to rest, and we hear the news reports of the doctors, the researchers telling us people aren't getting enough sleep. We're not getting enough sleep. Perhaps it's important for us to take just 2 minutes at the end of the day to let go of whatever slights we may have suffered during the day, to recite the Shema, this familiar and comforting prayer that we all know so well, and in selecting some of these verses to remind ourselves that it is God, the guardian of Israel, who neither slumbers nor sleeps, as Psalm 121 says, and as the verse was included in this ritual. And that in that moment when we forgive, in that moment when we turn to God and ask for both a restful sleep and the energy to wake up again in the morning, in the moment when we declare God's oneness to the entire world, that we can hopefully in that moment find real rest, real sleep. And so my blessing for you as Shabbat approaches, the day of rest, is that at the very least, that Friday night you find a moment to sit down, to clear your mind, to let go of whatever you may have suffered during the week, and to ask God for at least this one night, a good night's sleep. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom,